lovely human, so I'm afraid that ridiculously small amount of footage is the only footage I managed to get from Edinburgh this year. I'm sorry, I know I'm meant to be doing VEDA, I know I've been really bad at keeping up with it, but I just had a really hectic time up there. This year for the Fringe I only scheduled 5 days to go up, and 2 of those days are mainly going to be travelling, so I was essentially really only there for 3 days, and they were super duper busy. I was literally out of the house at 10 every day, and I didn't get home usually until gone midnight, so it was really full on, and I didn't have enough time really to edit. I didn't have any Wi-Fi to upload, so I decided just to leave videos until I got home and just to tell you all about the exciting time that I had at the Fringe. So without further ado, here are the 10 main things that I did in Edinburgh this year. Number 1, I went to see shows. What do you do at the world's biggest arts festival? You go and see stuff. I saw about 12 shows this year, and considering I only had about 3 days to go and see things, the best thing I went to go and see this year was a spoken word artist called Harry Baker. He's got a lot of YouTube videos, so I'm going to link them below. I also went to go and see some really great stand-up comedy, and I think my favourite show that I went to go and see was by a Canadian stand-up comedian called Mae Martin. She made loads of really valid points about gender and sexuality and feminism, and she was really on point with a lot of the things that she said. And so yeah, it was a great show because it made us think, but it also kind of made us laugh as well. So it had that amazing balance which I think a lot of comedians really struggle to get. So definitely go and see Mae Martin if you can. I'll also link her below. The other person that I loved and I go and see every single year that I'm at the Fringe was Stuart Bowden. He's an Australian performance maker, and he makes these really weird, offbeat but gorgeous shows. Most of the shows I went to go and see this year were on the free Fringe, because I didn't have a venue pass like I have in previous years. But I was actually really pleasantly surprised by the quality of what I got to go and see. And yeah, I saw some really fun, weird things from, you know, my first cabaret through to improv, through to comedy sketches. It was a right mix of things, and yeah, I'm really pleased with the variety of shows that I got to see over the 3 days I was there. The second thing I did in Edinburgh was walk up a lot of stairs. It's a city that's pretty much built on a massive hill, so everything pretty much seems to be either uphill or downhill. So even after 3 days, my calves were like completely different calves to the calves that arrived in Edinburgh. The third thing I did in Edinburgh was give people flyers. That's because I was promoting this show, which is my show, which is on at the Fringe at the moment. Cheeky plug right there. This is our flyer for my selfie, and it was nice. In my first year in Edinburgh, I went up to do flyering, and I got to do a little bit more, but it wasn't quite so hardcore this year. And yeah, it kind of brought back some memes. So yeah. Number 4, life is all about giving and receiving. So as well as giving out flyers, I also got given loads of them. It's pretty much a given that if you walk down the street in Edinburgh in August, you're going to end up with at least 25 pieces of paper thrown in your face. I think I looked really touristy this year too, because I was wearing trainers a lot and I had a backpack on my back and I was wearing a Mac. Apparently that's a tourist look in my head. Number 5, I walked up Arthur's Seat. This is my 3rd time at the Fringe Festival, and this is the first time that I managed to do one of the must-do things when you're in Edinburgh. The reason it's a must-do thing is because when you get to the top, there's a really lovely view. And yeah, it was really good to do it, and to kind of see the city as a whole. Number 6, I saw my first YouTube famous person in the flesh. That person was John Cozart. It was kind of really awkward because I think I just kind of whispered YouTube really loudly under my breath as he walked past. He's doing a show in Edinburgh, so if you're up there and you're a YouTuber, then I would definitely say that that's a must-see. Number 7, I went vintage shopping. So every time I go to the Fringe, there is a specific vintage shop that I always have to go to, just because it is really big, there's so much amazing stuff in there, and I normally find like one thing that I really like every year. And this year I managed to find this skirt, which is really difficult to kind of show on camera, but it's kind of like a woolen material, and it's very sparkly, as you can see, and it cost me £5, and it's got that lovely musty vintage smell that we all love. So yeah, and I've worn it once already and I really like it. and I'm going to wash it before I wear it again. Number 8, I saw fireworks. So the Fringe is always on at the same time as the military tattoo in Edinburgh, and as part of that, I think they always have fireworks like on certain nights of the week. And I've always just heard these fireworks in the past. I've never actually seen them. But this year we just happened to be on the Royal Mile, which is like the heart of the Fringe, just as the fireworks were starting, and we got to have a little moment with fireworks, so that was nice. Number 9, I got rained on, and luckily this year it was only a tiny bit of rain on the way to my flight, which I'm going to talk to you about in a minute. And then finally, and unfortunately, number 10, I missed a flight. Now, I decided to fly to Edinburgh this year. I'm still not really sure why. I think it was just to get a bit more experience in flying, and it didn't actually cost a lot more money, so I thought I'll give it a go. But I managed to miss my flight home, and no, it wasn't because I was hungover. I was there in good time. I just got held up in security because, guys, super suspicious. So yeah, so I got held up, and then I missed my flight, and then I cried, and then I got told that I couldn't get onto another flight, so I had to get the train back. And then the train was delayed, so I left my Edinburgh flat at 7 in the morning, and I didn't get back home until I think it was about 10:30 in the evening. So it's a good, 15-hour round trip. Awful, worst journey of my life. Never really want to go on a train or a plane again, but you know, I've learnt my lessons. Get to your flights very, very early, because if you don't, you might get held up at security, and then you will miss your flight by 2 minutes, which is what happened. So sad. Other than that, an unfortunate event, I had a really, really great time at the Fringe this year. If you're going or have been to the Fringe this year, or in the past, I'd love to hear how you found it, what your experience was, what you're doing up there, if you've got a show up there. Let me know, because I'd love to hear about what you guys are up to. I will be back tomorrow. Normal service is resumed, so I will see you tomorrow. Bye! And that's because, ooh, hello hiccup.